All right, let's take a look at the stock market again, and I'm going to focus on the NASDAQ. Um, in my last video, I believe it was, I said I was expecting a bounce, but because the NASDAQ marginally broke this low, that looks like a failed daily cycle in progress. However, we did not break below this low in the S&P, and the S&P is the cyclical driver for stocks. So not a great sign here in the NASDAQ, but it's just not there in the S&P. So let me put that up. So you can see here, we did test this low, but we didn't break it. So nothing technically wrong here other than this second daily cycle is just wasting a lot of time. We're wasting a lot of days in this second daily cycle, and we have not been able to embed RSI in the overbought condition again. So one of two things is happening. Either this second daily cycle is going to run out of steam. We are getting our Santa Claus rally, but that usually is done by the first week of January. So if we run out of steam here, then it's possible this second daily cycle could roll over, left translate, and then come down, and we get our intermediate cycle low in maybe out in February or early March. So that is a possibility here. I don't like the fact that this second daily cycle is just grinding sideways and it's not really making any headway. And again, it hasn't been able to embed RSI in the overbought condition. Now let me go back to the NASDAQ again. All right, so and actually I'm gonna go to the Qs. So this is kind of my line in the sand. This 400 level here on the QQQ, it was resistance here, and then it broke, but it didn't hold. And that's not unusual because this was occurring late in the daily cycle. So as I've pointed out many times in the past, breakouts that occur late in a cycle generally don't produce sustained moves. So not really all that surprising that the Qs were not able to hold above 400. This was also the same time that the NASDAQ composite had that brief break above 1600. And then we get a leg down, another retest. We can't get above it again. The move down into what is the daily cycle low on the S&P. A bounce, another test, haven't been able to break it again. So this is kind of my line in the sand. If this daily cycle is going to left translate, roll over, and then start a long difficult grind down into an intermediate cycle low, it's probably going to do it at this 400 level. We would get like maybe a fourth test of this, and again it gets rejected, and then at that point I think we start grinding down into that intermediate cycle low. However, if the Qs can get above 400 and hold above it for more than a couple of days, then I'm going to change my mind, and at that point I would continue holding my positions. Right now I'm getting a little tentative here. I'm going to watch this 400 level closely over the next few days. If we come up and test this really quick during the Santa Claus rally, then there is a better than average chance that we could break out. But if we start to churn a little bit in here, and the sellers are just not willing to hang on to their positions as we near this resistance again, then that would not be a great sign. I don't really want to see any more days wasted in this daily cycle here. I really want to see this rally just get some momentum, break through this 400, and if it does, then I think there's a decent chance that this second daily cycle can right translate, make new highs, get a sustained breakout above 400 and maybe a sustained breakout above 16,000 on the NASDAQ composite, and maybe even possible that we could go to 17,000 before starting down into the next intermediate cycle low in March. And remember, the yearly cycle low last year occurred in March, so generally you want to look for the next yearly cycle low somewhere between 11 to 13 months from the last one, unless we're transitioning into a larger degree decline like a 4-year cycle low. But I don't think that's happening here. So I would look for the yearly cycle low in March. If this second daily cycle left translates, can't get above that 400 level, then we're probably going to be grinding down into that intermediate cycle low, and probably that's going to bottom somewhere here in March or February, or maybe even out to early March. But if we can get above that, then I think there's a decent possibility that this kind of turns into a little bull flag pattern, and maybe we could even get a push up to 17,000 before we get that move down into the yearly cycle low, and which would also be an intermediate cycle low.